Well, welcome to Week 14 and welcome to Lambeau Field. This is your home for Super Bowl 51 and America's Game of the Week. And the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Green Bay Packers on a 27-degree day here at the beginning. The temperature should hold right around there. We had a lot of snow early, overnight, during the morning hours, but it stopped. And with Ty Montgomery and Jeff Janis waiting deep, the Seahawks won the toss. They deferred. They'll get the ball to start the second half, and we'll see Aaron Rodgers to start the day here at Lambeau. Glad you're with us. A shorty. And on the return, it's Montgomery. To the 25, that's it. 16-yard return by Ty Montgomery. Dewey McDonald on the stop. And for more on the conditions down there, let's check in with Aaron.
Well, you mentioned the snow stopped. We got about 5 to 6 inches here in Green Bay as you see what it looked like here in Lambeau this morning. And Joe, these are not the conditions the Packers were hoping for. They wanted it to downpour. Aaron Rodgers saying a wet, snowy surface would really even out the field. Not the case. Seahawks came prepared. They're wearing those 7-studded cleats to help them not slip here on the field. Guys saying this is nothing compared to what we played in Minnesota during the playoffs last year. Minus 28 windshield.
Well, here we go. The defense for Seattle, the #1 scoring defense in the NFL. Rodgers has all day. And he finds Jordy Nelson along the sideline. He starts 1 for 1. 9-yard completion to number 87.
Well, to start this game, we see this offensive line give Aaron Rodgers all time in the pocket. I don't know that there's a quarterback in the league right now that holds the ball longer than Aaron Rodgers does, but he's able to find his guy along the sidelines, pick up 9 yards.
Second down and 1.
Hey, go. V, 5-4. 319. 319.
Here is Montgomery, and he's met in the backfield, driving his legs and getting almost back to the line of scrimmage. Michael Bennett was first there. The Packers get TJ Lang back, a terrific guard, right guard spot. He had missed the last 3 games with a broken foot, and they come in ranked 13th around the NFL. They're #2 in third down percentage, converting at 48%, and they face a 3rd and 2 here in their first series of the game.
Well, disappointing start with that running game. That's been a problem, for this offense. Have had a hard time figuring out who the ball carrier is going to be and how they're going to have some success on the ground.
Rodgers out to his right, downfield. He's got Adams. Welcome to Week 14. Touchdown, Green Bay.
You see Rodgers in the pocket. He feels a little pressure inside. He slides to his right, and that's when he finds Davante Adams up that right sidelines. And you see the job that he's able to do against Jeremy Lane. And Davante Adams, in visiting with Aaron Rodgers yesterday, boy, he really likes this young guy and what he's been able to do this year. Healthier from where he was a year ago, and in the last 3 to 4 ball games, Joe, he has really come up big for this Packers offense.
Yeah, and over the last 6, he's #1 in the NFL in receiving yards a game at just under 100. And it's 7-0, 3rd down and 2. And a 66-yarder to Davante Adams, who had been plagued, Troy, by drops in key spots the previous 2 years, but he has really blossomed here in 2016.
You're going to see the route combination up top. And as Davante Adams starts to the flat, it gets Jeremy Lane to bite just enough. And as he's up the sidelines, a perfectly thrown ball on the move by Aaron Rodgers.
Little smile on Aaron's face in a 7-0 lead. We welcome in a new audience. That's us, Joe, Troy, Aaron, Mike Pereira from back in LA. And the first series of the game for the Packers produces 7. And it's Davante Adams on 3rd down and 2 down the sideline, 66 yards against this terrific Seattle defense, the #1 scoring defense in the NFL. They allow only their 12th touchdown pass of the year. They came in tied for the second fewest allowed. But Aaron Rodgers has been hot, and he stays hot here on a cold day at Lambeau.
Well, he's been one of the hottest quarterbacks here over the last 7 weeks of the season. And the thing that they've gotten back within their offense is the big plays in the passing game. And that's something Seattle does not give up very often. They've been very tough to move the ball and pick up the big plays, but first possession of the game, a perfect strike to Davante Adams.
Tyler Lockett, big weapon back there for Seattle, crosses the 25, and they'll mark him at the 26. That, by the way, was the longest play from scrimmage for the Packers this season and the longest play allowed from scrimmage by the Seattle defense. Here's Russell Wilson. All he's done is win, and a lot of those wins have come in December. 16-3, and look at that quarterback rating in this crucial month, 106.2, the highest since the AFL-NFL merger.
In fact, both these quarterbacks are pretty good during their careers over the month of December.
Pass is caught. This is Baldwin. And Doug Baldwin, who has really blossomed as the go-to guy for Russell Wilson, picks up 8. Seahawks offense over the last 5 games, and maybe that last column, Troy, is something that Pete Carroll was most worried about and now is most pleased about, as they're starting to run the ball a little better.
I think the big reason is they've started to get their health back, and certainly Thomas Rawls helped them coming off a big game last week.
Here he is, and Rawls met by Daniels. It'll be 3rd and short coming up on the other side as Seattle gets stuffed at the line of scrimmage, and a good play by Mike Daniels. This defense has struggled, no doubt. If you look at where they rank in yards per attempt, last in the NFL. Pass touchdowns allowed. It hasn't been a good year. The opponent's quarterback rating, 31st in the NFL. They hand it off. First down. Rawls breaks free and will cross the 45 out to the 48. On 3rd and 2, a carry of 13 yards for Thomas Rawls.
Well, Bradley Sowell, the right tackle, you're going to see him blocked down, and then he is able to create the lane as Jimmy Graham gets up to the linebacker level. Just an excellent hole there by that offensive front, creating something there for Rawls to pick up that first down.
Sowell is taken over at right tackle, started the season at left tackle. Makes his 2nd straight start. On first down, play action. Wilson sneaks through and slides down with a gain to the Green Bay 48, a 4-yard pickup. Morgan Burnett is there.
I think when you talk about this running game for Seattle and the health of Thomas Rawls and him coming back and what he's meant to this offense, the other part of that equation in their running ability has been the health of Russell Wilson. He went down really week 1 when he had the ankle sprain, and it's been a few weeks now that he's been healthy, but he certainly has added to those rushing numbers, and we saw what he was able to do there on first down when nothing was open in the passing game.
Opportunity for Seattle. Arizona lost moments ago. Pass caught. Curse, and he's got enough for a first down. A gain of 8 and a first down for Seattle, and with a win here, Pete Carroll, who we showed you along the sideline, would be a division champion yet again. He's been to the postseason every season but 2011, and with a win here today or over the next few weeks, he will capture his 4th divisional title. From the 41, it's Rawls. And you can see why they were excited to get him back. This has been, Troy, a rushing attack that's been so good with Marshawn Lynch. Top 4 ranking each of the last 4 years. 20th coming in, but getting better.
Well, they are getting better, and I think some of that is they're finally beginning to get a little bit of continuity, out of that offensive line. They lost their center, Justin Britt, a few weeks ago against Tampa Bay. Really a terrible performance by them, the worst that they've had all season long, but they've made a few changes along the way at the tackle position, and now they're starting to come together and shows.
2nd and 2. Wilson has a man, and Baldwin was overthrown as he got behind Ladarius Gunter. That was there for the touchdown, and Wilson missed him.
Yeah, it sure was. He's working against Gunner on the double move, and Gunner bites on it, and that's some of the things that Gunner as a young player is kind of getting acclimated to. He's been forced to play with so many injuries at the cornerback position all season long.
Another audience joins us. 3rd down and 2 for Green Bay. They scored a 66-yard touchdown. Now it's 3rd down and 2 for Seattle. Their first possession from just outside the 33. 4 men on the rush, and there's Wilson escaping for the first down. Thomas on the tackle, but not before a now healthy Russell Wilson gained 5. If you're just joining us, this was on 3rd and 2 with Davante Adams working on Jeremy Lane. And then no surprise as Aaron Rodgers just drops it right into his waiting arms for the big score.
Well, we had a chance to visit with Aaron Rodgers yesterday, and you know, I just sensed a confident quarterback that kind of has his swagger back, and you know, we haven't seen that from him in quite some time.
Quick throw, pass is caught. Baldwin, and Baldwin's going to hop out of bounds with, it looks like enough for another Seattle first down. It's right at the marker. Depends on the spot. There's Mike McCarthy, who's shaking his head. He's taken the Packers to the postseason 7 straight years. He's in his 11th year. It started in 06. He had Brett Favre at quarterback for 2 seasons, and then number 12, Aaron Rodgers, took over. A lot of success here at Lambeau, especially in the month of December. On first down, it's Rawls picking his way. He looks good. Rawls is going to be forced down at the 11. Gain of 7.
Well, Rawls is a pretty amazing guy. He reminds me a lot of Ahmad Bradshaw, who once played for the New York Giants in his style. He's not an overly big guy. He's not real smooth as he runs, but he is tough as nails, and he's got some moves, and he will look up defenders to try to make contact. And you see some of the wiggle that he has at the line of scrimmage, and you know, he's had some nice runs here on this opening possession for Seattle.
Footing is good on the field. We checked it before the game. Despite all the snow, the field was covered. Here's Lockett. And Tyler Lockett, who had a 75-yard touchdown run last week against the Carolina Panthers, picks up 2, and it looks like he is inches short of a first down as Clinton Dix is there for the stop.
Well, this is a heck of a drive answering for Seattle after Green Bay goes up 7 points. They've had some 3rd downs. They've been able to convert. They've got 3rd and short here already. We've seen the impact of Russell Wilson when you cover up the receivers and his ability, as he did on that last 3rd down, to pick up the first.
12th play of the drive, 3rd and less than 1. Handoff to Rawls, and he falls down. And there was nothing there anyway, as Jaron Elliott was there, and he wasn't alone. A loss of 1.
Well, Jake Ryan, the linebacker, he feels the hole, number 47, and as Rawls tries to make a cut to get backside, he slips and then just has no opportunity, and a good stop by this Packers defense.
That'll bring on Stephen Hauschka for the field goal attempt. Talked to him before the game. Got multiple different shoes and cleats he can wear on that left foot, the plant foot. He was not worried about the footing here at Lambeau today. Bad snap, good hold by John Ryan, and the 28-yarder is good. Good work by the former Packer, John Ryan. Wedding ring on his finger, football on its end, and through the uprights. 7-3 game. Mid-20s, as we told the audience that was with us from the beginning. That's dedication. That's just dedication by them. Some have joined us midstream. It's a 7-3 game. Quick strike by Aaron Rodgers and a good long drive that produces 3 from Seattle. Return by Montgomery, his second of the game, and Ty Montgomery for the second time will be knocked down near the 25. They'll mark him at the 26. Thomas rolls. It's a cold day at Lambeau. 7-3 Pack. 7-3 second possession for the Green Bay Packers. It starts at their own 26. If you haven't watched the Packers of late, yes, number 88 is in the backfield, and for the most part, Ty Montgomery, drafted to be a receiver out of Stanford, is their main back. And he gets it here. Running to the left side. Breaks a couple of tackles. That's a good run. Hard run. And Ty Montgomery picks up 7, brought down by Cam Chancellor.
Yeah, it was a nice little switch that they had weeks ago when they decided to start using him at the running back position. A guy who really had not played any running back, did some very little in college, and he's a big guy, so he can withstand a lot of this punishment. They still continue to list him as a receiver, but like you said, Joe, he's been primarily a running back for many weeks now, and he's done a nice job.
2nd and 3, Montgomery right side now. He's got a first down and more. Out of bounds, forced out by Stephen Terrell. And Terrell gets the start for the injured and IR'd Earl Thomas there after a 17-yard run.
You're going to see the center, Corey Lindsley. He's able to hook around, and he gets a key block, and then the kick out by T.J. Lang. I know they're happy to have him back in the lineup, and then Montgomery's able to finish it off. But this offensive line here in the early going doing a pretty good job.
Now it's Starks' first carry of the day. James Starks gets maybe a yard. Bobby Wagner on the tackle. You look at the most rushing yards for the Packers this season. They're still led by Eddie Lacy, but at least on the active list, it's their quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Kristen Michael now takes over, and he's actually the leading rusher for the Seattle Seahawks. Released after the win in New England and picked up by Green Bay.
He's getting crammed. 5-4.
And Michael gets it right side. The former Seahawk has got a first down and gets popped by Terrell.
Well, we've seen him go with Ty Montgomery and then James Starks, and you've got Kristen Michael here, who began his career with the Seattle Seahawks, and you just know a guy like him wants the ball playing his former team.
Quick snap, flag down, pass incomplete for Jordy Nelson. So we're showing a replay, and I mean, I'm not even sure Green Bay was set, but Seattle had players moving all over the place as Aaron Rodgers tried to catch him off guard.
Offside, number 93, defense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Aaron Rodgers, that's his specialty, getting up to the line, and they were ready, they were set.
That's Tony McDaniel, and that's what Aaron Rodgers is looking for. It happens every week. I mean, it seems every time we do a game, a defense tries to sub, and Rodgers is quick to get him to the line. He makes a call, and the ball snapped, and then they've got a free play. But to go back to Kristen Michael, here he is playing against the Seattle Seahawks, who he was with 2 stints. I'd sure feed him the ball and see what he's capable of doing. I think he's highly motivated to have himself a great game today.
5th run of this drive, and highly motivated or not, Jaron Reed is there to bring him down on a loss of 1. That first run, when Michael got the first down along the sideline, he was patting his former teammates and coaches on the back on his way back to the huddle at 2nd and 6.
Well, nobody knows Kristen Michael better than the Seattle Seahawks. He was a former 2nd-round pick. He got traded to the Cowboys, and then he rejoined the team last year. I thought he finished the year up strong last season for him, and then he got released again this year.
Here's Michael. Bobby Wagner. 3rd and short coming up. Let's go to Carissa with a game break.
Thanks, Joe. Good news, bad news for the Dolphins. This successful 21-yard field goal makes them the 6th seed in the AFC, but Ryan Tannehill left the game with a knee injury. Joe, Troy, and Aaron.
Tannehill cheering on the sideline with the rain pouring down in Miami, and the struggle continues for the Arizona Cardinals. Team that got to the NFC Championship game a year ago. They'll be on the outside looking in 3rd down and 3. There's a bust, and Rodgers goes down, and there's Kristen Michael. Just talking about him, he and Aaron Rodgers were not on the same page, and between those two, I'd bet on Rodgers.
Well, you're going to see Kristen Michael goes to the right. Rodgers is expecting him to go to the left. It looked like that's where it was supposed to go, to the left. Ripkowski is lead blocking, and that was one of the concerns with Mike McCarthy. He loves him as a runner, but as much as Aaron Rodgers changes things at the line of scrimmage, he has not been with the team very long. 4 weeks, and he said, I'm worried about him being able to pick up those adjustments, and that was a missed opportunity on 3rd down.
51-yard try by Mason Crosby. This one hangs out to the right, and it's wide right. And good field position at their 41 for Seattle, down 4.
Today's game is sponsored by Chevrolet. More 2016 J.D. Power Dependability Awards than any other brand. By the new Bacon King sandwich, only at Burger King. And by K Jewelers. For 100 years, every kiss begins with K.
5 inches of snow fell on Green Bay, Wisconsin today. Field is in outstanding shape, especially comparing it to last week against Houston. Players sliding all over the place. That's not the case. This field was covered. Snow stopped before they pulled the cover off the field, and so the footing is good. Now with just over 2 minutes left in the first quarter, Seahawks have it, down 4. Wilson keeps, fires, has Graham, and overthrows him. We've seen Russell Wilson miss a couple of open receivers. That was Graham on that 1st down play. Welcome to the booth. I'm Joe Buck, along with the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman. Aaron Andrews is braving the elements down there on the field, and I think Green Bay fans have to like what they see out of their offense, the way they've been able to run it, and the way Rodgers, as you said, has that swagger back.
I think it's a team that really is a confident team coming into this game, and these are 2 teams that certainly expect a lot and have been through a lot here in recent years.
Here's Rawls to the 45, 3rd down coming.
So far in this game, Joe, that's the difference right now, is that we've seen Russell Wilson with 2 opportunities for touchdowns. The first series, they had a chance, and now on this last one, they had a chance to Jimmy Graham on the corner route, and they just missed him. They had Doug Baldwin on that first possession. Russell Wilson has missed his, and Aaron Rodgers drops a dime to Davante Adams to get their touchdown.
3rd down and 7. Quick throw, pass caught Baldwin. Did he have enough? The answer is no. It's 4th down. Demarius Randall with a sure-handed tackle, and Pete Carroll's not going to play around with it and go for it here on 4th and 1. The punt team comes out for Seattle, and Randall Cobb goes back for Green Bay. Cobb, a good week returning punts last week. It's his 4th week doing it. Didn't have any punt returns last year or the year before, and 2 punt return touchdowns in each of his first 2 years in the NFL. Fair catch. Cobb's got it at the 14. And so the Packers will have it for the 3rd time in the game as they lead at 7-3.
Every football team eventually arrives at a lead play, a number 1 play, a bread and butter play. It is the play that the team knows it must make go, and the one its opponents know they must stop. My number 1 play is the power sweep. There's nothing spectacular about it. It's just a yard gainer.
The great Vince Lombardi. There's the statue for Vince this morning, accumulating snow.
I like that, a yard gainer. Well, he'd be proud of this start for the Green Bay Packers today. They've had a few yard gainers here on their first couple of possessions.
The infamous power sweep. He was known to give seminars on it. Coaches came from near and far. Here's Cobb on the outside. Broke one tackle. That was the tackle of Jeremy Lane, and ends up picking up 4. I think our good friend John Madden was once in the crowd when Vince Lombardi was giving one of those long seminars on the power sweep. About hour 6. Finally broke for a trip to the restroom. That's the end of the quarter. Packers were going to try to hurry it up, but they're going to have to wait till the second quarter. Back after this from your local Fox station. The Packers on top by 4. Look at the day for Le'Veon Bell and the Steelers. Don't forget the Steelers in the AFC. What a day. And Kirk Cousins, big win for the Washington Redskins. Matthew Stafford, 8th fourth quarter comeback for a win. They had a battle at home against Chicago, but got the victory. And they're sitting on top of the North at 9-4. Started the day 2 games better than Green Bay. Rodgers really well protected, finds Cobb, and Randall Cobb out of bounds out across the 40, forced out by KJ Wright, and a completion of 25 yards.
Yeah, Cobb running across the middle of the field. He puts his hand up because they vacate a zone, and then finally with time Rodgers is able to find him. We've not seen Rodgers really get any pressure on him in this ball game, and that's a concern. We know what he's capable of doing. You can't cover these guys that long, no matter how good your secondary is. The Seahawks have struggled to get into the quarterback the last 2 weeks.
Here's a handoff to Montgomery. Let's go back to the previous play. As Montgomery gets 4 on this most recent one, and Richard Sherman takes a whack at Davante Adams, and Davante Adams gets up and defends himself, and those two will be going at it for much of the day. And you're right about Seattle, Troy. The Seahawks do not have a sack over their last 2 games. They've never gone 3 games without a sack, but they've had no pressure on Rodgers. Pass caught by Cobb again, and was shed on the coverage and the tackle, a gain of 4.
Well, the way this game started was a little different than what was anticipated offensively by the Packers. I know in visiting with Aaron Rodgers, he really expected to open it up. Rodgers tried to catch him again with the substitution, but he saw that they were able to get off the field, but immediately he went to the line, seeing if he couldn't maybe get another free play.
See Bakhtiari, the left tackle, they're huffing and puffing. It's hard on those offensive linemen. 3rd and 2. Rodgers steps through pressure and now throws it away. That time he had a man in his face. Richard Rodgers was the target, and Cliff Averill was the closest to it from Seattle. He forced this throw.
Yeah, really good coverage on this play, even with Rodgers being able to buy himself a little bit of time. But to go back and finish what I was saying, you know, Rodgers really anticipated coming out in this game and throwing it right away, but instead the first few possessions, they got that running game going a little bit. The conditions, they were expecting a lot more snow here at kickoff. The field's actually in really good shape. Changed the game plan from what they thought. They've had some success on the ground.
Jacob Shum hits an end-over-end punt. Fair catch by Lockett. And a punt of 33 yards. Randall Cobb a moment ago asking to come out, and a little gimpy going to the sideline.
And golden brown. Papa John's new pan pizza. Try a 3-topping for $10 and a 2-liter Pepsi for $2.
Papa John's, the official pizza sponsor of the NFL.
Today's game is sponsored by the all-new 2017 Ford Super Duty. This is the next level.
Randall Cobb got his ankle twisted along the sideline by Deshaun Shedd. And it's that right ankle. That's why he was limping off as we went to commercial break. Now Seattle has it starting at their 16, down by 4. Here's Rawls. Thomas in there on the stop, a gain of 3.
Well, we see Randall Cobb, as you said, him hobbled coming off the field, and see what his status is going forward. It's been a tough year for him physically. Like he's had a lot of nagging injuries throughout this season. Hasn't been able to be nearly as explosive this year from what we've seen in years past.
He's on the cart, about to head in for a closer look. 2nd and 7. Russell Wilson caught his own man. And here we go. We've seen a lot of this already, and we're going to get flags and who knows what else. This started to dust up when Green Bay had it after the 3rd down incompletion by Aaron Rodgers. It's carried over now to with Seattle with the football. The initial calls against Seattle for a false start. But let's get Walt Coleman's take on it.
Fouls on both teams. False start, number 76 on the offense. That penalty is disregarded. Personal foul, number 95, unnecessary roughness on the defense. That 15-yard will be assessed. 1st down.
The personal foul on the 15-yarder supersedes and eliminates the 5-yard false start. It's Dayton Jones. And I don't know, you start getting into who started it. Easy to say from up here, but it was Ifedi who threw that shot, and it was Jones who got the flag. And he has to go see his head coach Mike McCarthy, and away goes Randall Cobb into the dressing room.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy's not happy about that at all. I know we talked with Mike Daniels yesterday, and he said, hey, these teams, they just simply don't like each other. There's been a lot at stake over the years between these teams. I do think there's mutual respect, but he said we don't like them, they don't like us. We've seen it get a little bit chippy here in this 1st half.
Now on 1st down, Wilson steps into it. He's picked. Intercepted by Burnett. His receiver fell down, and Burnett out of bounds near the 25. Graham was the target, and he went down.
Morgan Burnett is having himself one heck of a season. He plays this beautifully. I don't know that there was really much of an opportunity for Russell Wilson to fit that ball in, even if Jimmy Graham had been able to keep his feet. Morgan Burnett was in great position. He comes underneath it. I think he was going to make a play on that ball regardless, but great anticipation by him, and he has been a playmaker for this defense.
The 65-year-old Pete Carroll, oldest coach in the NFL, most energetic coach in the NFL, trying to gather his team, maybe calm them down a little bit. 2nd pick for Burnett this season. And the Green Bay Packers have the ball at the 26.
Yeah, this is the Packers defense that has not taken the ball away very often this year. So to be setting their offense up inside the 30-yard line, that hasn't happened much.
We'll get a report from Aaron on Randall Cobb. Geronimo Allison has taken over, and here's Ty Montgomery. Montgomery picks up 2. Let's go down to Aaron.
Joe, you mentioned Randall Cobb been dealing with injuries all season long. We saw him get carted off to the locker room. Packers are saying right ankle. His return is questionable.
It's interesting. They are checking the left in that look at him, and I said right, and obviously it was his right that was pinned down underneath the body of Deshaun Shedd. Either way, he's not available. Questionable return. 2nd and 7 for Aaron Rodgers. Pass is caught inside the 10. Jared Cook. And more he's giving Aaron Rodgers a target from that tight end spot.
Yeah, Jared Cook, he splits out. They still keep a corner on him, Deshaun Shedd, but that's an element that Aaron Rodgers has talked about, saying, hey, we haven't had a guy like him, really since Jermichael Finley. Now, he was talking more about someone who can work the middle of the field, but you see some of the versatility of Jared Cook, splitting him out wide and then being able to hit him on the slant.
You also see the start for Aaron Rodgers, 6 for 7. First and goal. Pass is caught. Jordy Nelson down near the 2, maybe the 1. Second and goal.
Well, this is a Seattle defense that throughout the year has been excellent down here in this end of the field in the red zone. And Aaron Rodgers knows that playing against a defense like this that leads the league in scoring defense, they give up just 16 points a game on average. They got to capitalize on the opportunities. It's second and goal from the 1.
Fifth best red zone defense in the NFL tested here. Here's Montgomery, hesitates, drives, touchdown. They're going to have to change his number, Troy. He just rushed for his first touchdown of the year and only the 3rd for the Packers all season.
Well, TJ Lang, he gets knocked back into the backfield. Normally when that kind of penetration occurs down the goal line, you're not going to pick up the touchdown. But Ty Montgomery, as I said, he's a wide receiver / running back, whatever you want to call him now. But he's a big guy at 220 pounds, and he moves the pile. He picks up the touchdown. That's a heck of a job down there against a good defensive team in the red zone.
From the running back spot, only the 3rd touchdown rushed for the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers has done his job to chip in, and here's Montgomery. David Bakhtiari, the left tackle, said he's strong enough to do it. He looks like an Under Armour model. He's put together, and he has moved the pile more than once in this first half. Points off the turnover. Morgan Burnett supplied the takeaway. Now Russell Wilson. The hole gets a little deeper, down 11.
Then Week 15 kicks off with Thursday Night Football in Seattle.
The Green Bay Packers here at home coming in with a record of 6-6. They had that 4-game losing streak. Now they've won a couple in a row. It started with a game at Philadelphia last week here at home against Houston. And Aaron Rodgers thought that his group could run the table. If they do, a division championship is not out of the question. They just need a stumble from Detroit over the next couple of weeks. They will meet in Week 17 in Detroit. Here's Lockett, out of bounds just across the 25. NFC North very much up for grabs, and up into the crowd with a Lambeau Leap. Ty Montgomery. Mike McCarthy happy with an 11-point lead. Michael Bennett, not so much.
Today's game is sponsored by KFC's new $10 chicken share, a bucket for 2. KFC is finger licking good.
An impressive start for the Green Bay Packers. It was Morgan Burnett, who Mike McCarthy told our group is having his best season, who provided the interception that led to 7. And now an 11-point lead. Here's Russell Wilson. From the 26, it's Rawls. Not much. Daniels on the stop. The rivalry has been interesting in the last 4 meetings as we go back. The Hail Mary back in 2012. 36-16 win for Seattle in 2014. That championship game, which we'll get into, I'm sure, at some point. And then last year in Week 2, that game remains the only game Russell Wilson has lost by 10 or more points in the NFL. That's incredible. 2nd and 8. Too far for Rawls, and Wilson has not started out this game sharp at all.
No, if you look at Russell Wilson, after that interception that led to the touchdown for Green Bay, through the first 10 games of this season, he had thrown just 2 interceptions, and now in the last 3 games he's thrown 4. So that last one, of course, was very costly in giving Green Bay the short field, but they've got to be able to sustain some drives, get this thing going.
3rd down and 8. Wilson is sacked. Down he goes, and it's the rookie Dean Lowry. Back-to-back weeks with a sack for number 94.
Well, the Packers are able to get pressure, and then as Russell Wilson's trying to get the ball to Thomas Rawls, but Rawls wasn't quite ready for the ball right there, and then Lowry, he just keeps playing. And you know, here's a guy, a young player who was only getting about 6 snaps a game, and he's been so productive when he's had his opportunities that, you know, Mike McCarthy said we've got to get him on the field more, and his playing time is going to increase in this one, and he pays off for that one.
Here's a terrible punt. And it's out of bounds on the Seattle side of the 50. They'll mark it at the 48. 31-yard punt. And Aaron Rodgers was there waiting. Off to work he goes. Well, this will be the 2nd straight drive that Green Bay starts in Seattle's territory. With the ball at the 48. Randall Cobb is back. Actually got both ankles twisted, and if that's any indication, looks like he's all right. Not limping at all, coming out of the dressing room after getting looked at. Geronimo Allison, a rookie, is out there for Green Bay, and Rodgers out to his right gets Jordy Nelson for a 1st down. Covered by Sherman. And this is why we say both ankles. The right one obviously into the body of Shed, and then the left ankle gets twisted. But he's back out there, and I mean, unnecessary to say it, but he's one of the big weapons for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and at times they put him in the backfield and they hand him the ball, but he hasn't had a rushing attempt in 5 weeks. But I know coming into this game they anticipated him maybe carrying the ball from the backfield position, but with Ty Montgomery doing what he's done, I don't know if that'll happen now.
Here's Aaron Ripkowski, the young fullback. This Wednesday, from the producer of Empire, follow 3 talented singers as they struggle to find fame. Featuring Queen Latifah, Benjamin Bratt, and Lenny Kravitz. Star, special premiere after the Empire fall finale, starting at 8 Eastern here on Fox. 2nd down and 8 for the Packers at the 35.
Hey, pistol. Hey, we got a push. 931, push. 319. 319 up.
Kristen Michael back behind Aaron Rodgers. Quick throw to Jordy Nelson. And the play made by Richard Sherman along the sideline, a gain of 2.
Every time you watch Seattle defensively and Richard Sherman, and we all know what a great cover corner he is, and you know, arguably the smartest corner in all of football as well. He's got great football intelligence as well, but what I think a lot of people fail to realize is how good he is as a tackler. You don't see many cover corners come up and make some of the plays that you see from him as Randall Cobb gets back into the game, and here on 3rd down.
3rd down and 6. Wide open for the 1st down is Montgomery. And the Seahawks have no answers yet. A gain of 24 to set up 1st and goal.
Well, Michael Bennett, who's making his 2nd start after missing 5 games, they've been able to neutralize him a little bit, and then they got Ty Montgomery out of the backfield. It looked like J.J. Wright maybe got tied up inside and not able to get out in coverage, but that's, as a receiver background and being able to utilize him in the backfield, that's a real weapon in the passing game.
Packers already over 200 yards of offense.
319 up.
Low snap. Rodgers, time, touchdown, Nelson. This is starting to look like the old Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, it is. They split Ty Montgomery out wide, and that's initially where Aaron Rodgers is wanting to go, but he's covered up. Rodgers has time in the pocket, but KJ Wright once again in the middle looks like he gets kind of caught up, and he's not able to then stick with Jordy Nelson in the zone coverage across the middle, and it opens up the throwing lanes for Rodgers. And this is uncharted waters for this Seattle defense. The way that Green Bay's been able to punch this ball into the end zone 3 times now here in the first half.
I'd say his swagger is back. 11 for 12 for Aaron Rodgers. 176 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a perfect quarterback rating of 158.3 against the usually ferocious Seahawks defense. And on America's Game of the Week, here in Green Bay, Wisconsin, Lambeau Field, the home team having fun of 21-3. All 3 Packer drives for touchdowns have been quick strikes under 3 minutes off the clock. And the Packers with short field touchdown drives to go up 21-3. First 10 plays of the game, they ran it 8 out of the first 10 plays, and then they switched it up. Thrown it 10 of the last 14, and Aaron Rodgers able to find Jordy Nelson for the touchdown. Lockett will take a knee. Back to the travails of KJ Wright.
Well, that third down play to Ty Montgomery out of the backfield. KJ Wright, he hangs inside on Jared Cook, and he's not able to get out there, you know, to cover Montgomery. And then here's the touchdown to Jordy Nelson when he slips and is unable to then to make a play on that. And they're able to take advantage. You've got Cam Chancellor, and this defense is not accustomed to people moving the ball and scoring touchdowns the way that the Packers have here in this first half.
It's too easy to highlight the loss of Earl Thomas, but it's something we'll get into, and what his presence typically means for this defense. That Legion of Boom kind of wheels around him. Here's a good start to the drive. Pass caught by Lockett, and then he got hit up around the head or neck. And Tyler Lockett, who is just now starting to get healthy after an early season knee sprain, that was right into the face. And so with that, we'll take a timeout. They'll look at Tyler Lockett. We'll take a break. First down for Seattle when we come back. The great ones win in December. Certainly the case with these two. Aaron Rodgers, 21 wins, took over in 08. Russell Wilson, 16-3 in that quarterback rating we showed you. The best since the merger in 1970 in the month of December. Looks like Lockett got poked in the eye by Quentin Rollins, and that's why he was down. Got attention on the completion from Russell Wilson. First down. Wilson slides out. Foot race to the sideline and forced out by Joe Thomas. The Seahawks opened the game offensively, at least, with an impressive 13-play field goal drive. The 3 previous drives had produced just 1 first down and 3 net yards, so a little better this time. 2nd and 2 after punt, interception, punt following the field goal. Wilson's in trouble, going backward and just throws it away. And Wilson ends up on the deck. Jermaine Kearse closest to it for Seattle.
Well, initially they show Clinton Dix. He's given some help over to the offense's right side, and Wilson tries to work the opposite of that. Just not a whole lot there, and Russell Wilson just having to unload it and avoid the sack. But the third down here, the Seattle offense just trying to get going, as you said, Joe, after that first possession. It's a big third down to keep this drive going and just try to manufacture something to get some points before this half.
Sure has that feel. 3rd and 2. Pass is caught for the first down by Tanner McAvoy. His 5th catch, the rookie, free agent out of Wisconsin. So he knows how to play in the cold and in these conditions. Gain of 6.
Well, I know Seattle's their philosophy offensively under Pete Carroll has always been that they're going to pound the ball and they're going to play action and then take their shots down the field. And you know, Darrell Bevel, the offensive coordinator, he's the guy calling the plays, and their philosophy doesn't change. And with Thomas Rawls, they get some things back, but this is a secondary in Green Bay that has struggled against the pass. They've been decimated by injuries, and I would expect to see Russell Wilson start taking advantage of some of that.
Here's Rawls trying to cut back and turned it into a decent gain of 3. Let's go to Carissa with the game break.
Thanks, Joe. Atlanta looking to stay atop the NFC South, up 14-0 in the second quarter. Jared Goff intercepted by Deion Jones and returns this one 33 yards for a score. Falcons with a decisive 21-0 lead. Joe, Troy, and Aaron.
Meanwhile, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Carissa, leading in their game as those two teams are tied atop the NFC South. Lockett back in the game in the slot down here to the bottom. They fake it to Rawls. Wilson outruns a pass rusher. That was Dayton Jones. And the pass intended for Lockett behind him. It'll be 3rd down again.
Dayton Jones, he was in good position, and in order to try to keep Russell Wilson in the pocket, he still is able to get outside contained, which brings up another 3rd down.
Clay Matthews up at the top of the defensive formation. Pass is no good. Incomplete. With Baldwin the target and another poor throw from Russell Wilson, it's 4th down.
Yeah, even on that previous play on 2nd down, he had an opportunity for what should have been an easy completion, and this should have been even easier. Baldwin comes out and just no chance. He has great separation. It's an excellent route. We've seen Russell Wilson now miss some throws that you just simply cannot miss to keep the drive alive, as well as a couple big plays that would have been touchdowns in that first quarter.
Ryan now coming off a 31-yard punt. This one end over end with Cobb waiting for it, and a fair catch. The Packers started as team that was 8-1, their odds to win it all this year. It's slipped to 30-1 with the way their year has gone, but it's turned of late, and things are getting better. After a 4-game losing streak, they're looking for their 3rd straight win, and they are very much alive in the NFC North.
Yeah, they are, and they need a little bit of help, but I don't know, just yesterday being at their facility and talking with Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers, I just sensed an energy that I haven't felt, you know, with this team in quite a while. Not this year and not most of last year, and it's a confident group coming in against the Seattle Seahawks, who, other than the Tampa Bay game a couple weeks, they've been playing some awfully good football. But I'll tell you, the Packers, extremely confident. They feel like they're starting to peak at maybe the right time.
Here's Montgomery getting to the edge, and it looks like Green Bay's found their running back. Wagner on the stop, and Montgomery on 1st down gets 6. The offense has been hot, Troy, but you can't forget as Montgomery goes down on a knee, just when you say they found their running back. The defense has been coming on. Week 12, they allowed 13 at Philly, 13 last week on a snowy day here against Houston, and 3 so far in the first half against a good Seattle team.
Yeah, against an offense that had put up over 500 yards last week against Carolina.
And the 2-minute warning. We are at the 2-minute warning, much to the surprise of Aaron Rodgers in an 18-point game at Lambeau. Meanwhile, we've seen him limping around. This has kind of been the look the last couple of weeks. He injured his hamstring initially at Philadelphia. Whether it's that again or something else has popped up, not moving around all that well. 2nd and 4. Seattle needs a stop. Here's one floated downfield for Adams. What a throw. And Rodgers limps up the field. That was a beautiful throw.
Well, it was, but look at the route. I mean, you see Davante Adams. He slow plays to Shed coming. Deshaun Shed coming off the line of scrimmage, and then he just goes by him. And that's a matchup that Rodgers talked about yesterday, that they wanted to take some deep shots on Deshaun Shed. And say, when he's had his opportunities and guys have been open, he's made some nice throws.
Yeah, I'll scoop it. Hey, I'll scoop the car. For gum. 19.
On first down, here's another one down the sideline. Pass is broken up. Jared Cook the target. Brown wants a flag on Deshaun Shed, and they don't get it. Mainly because it looked like Shed didn't get his head around, but it looked like good coverage.
Yeah, they come back to him this time. They go with a bigger target, and Shed never does get turned around, and that should have been called. There's clearly contact before the ball arrives, and that was one of those situations in the pocket, Joe, where you can tell Rodgers is not going to be much of a factor, you know, moving around and trying to get outside the pocket. Normally he would have taken off there a little bit, but he's pretty much staying tight with whatever it is that's ailing him.
Play clock expires, no flag, and Starks to midfield. And now Bobby Wagner's pointing to the play clock, saying it was at zeros. They do allow a little bit of a beat in there before they throw a flag. Now quick snap. Flag on the play, and the pass is caught by Jordy Nelson. But a flag is down, and we'll see if it is yet again against Seattle.
I'm not sure the Packers even got set from what I could tell. It looked like a fire drill.
That's what it looked like the first time, and it was against Seattle. Every official in on this conference trying to decipher who the 5-yard penalty is against. Here's a call.
There are fouls on both teams. An illegal shift on the offense. They never got set. 12 men on the field on the defense. Those penalties offset. Still third down.
Looked like the officials got it right.
Well, yeah, they got it right. I just think at some point you're not going to try to substitute players, you know, against Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I've never seen a quarterback that's so aware of substitutions, and man, immediately these guys are so well versed at it, they catch you virtually every time. That time they weren't able to get set themselves, but nevertheless he sees it.
It's a big third down here. Seattle looking for a stop with 3 timeouts left. Rodgers floats it, passes too far for Davante Adams. And Seattle will have a chance to do something before the end of the half. It's 4th down, and Jared Cook now is walking off, a guy who missed a lot of time with a bad ankle. This is his 4th game back.
Well, you see how upset Aaron Rodgers is with himself. Just another excellent release by Davante Adams, and he stacks Deshaun Shed, and he's on top, and Rodgers hadn't missed one of those all night. That was another touchdown if he's able to complete them in stride.
Shown to punt. Lockett with a fair catch at the 10. What's coming up at the half? Here's Kurt Menefee with a sneak peek.
Coming up on the Visa halftime, we recap that nail-biter between Washington and Philly. The Cardinals and Dolphins come down to a last-second field goal, and the Niners try to double their win total for the season against the Jets. It's all coming up on the Visa halftime. See, this is what we do.
We gotta get a little better form from Menefee than that, don't we? I mean, hadn't Bradshaw taught him anything?
That's how they're passing the time back there. Meanwhile, Russell Wilson would like to complete a few passes like Kurt Menefee. See what he did the first drive, 3 for 9 since, and they start with a run. It's Alex Collins, his first carry. 3 timeouts left, over 1 minute on the clock. You can follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Pass is caught and out of bounds is Doug Baldwin. That gets the ball up to the 24.
And you mentioned Clay Matthews a little while ago, Joe, and he's playing with a significant shoulder injury. And last week in that game, it was like playing with 10 men on the field, and tremendous courage to even be out there playing. But he's in a lot of pain, and he's been basically having to go with one arm. And McCarthy talked about it and said he wants to play, but if he can't be more effective, we've got to be smart about it. He hasn't been a factor so far. He's been limited some in his snaps. We'll see if he's able to get home here on this possession.
There he is, forces Wilson out of the pocket to his right. Downfield, pass is caught, and it's Marcel Reese, who was just added, the 4-time Pro Bowl fullback and former Oakland Raider. How about that? Just when they needed it, a 31-yarder.
A guy they just picked up, and they have a little package in for him, and wow, that was a good job of keeping his feet in bounds. He came into the league as a wide receiver and was told that he was going to be a fullback.
First team timeout.
He makes a nice play on the ball.
Mike McCarthy calls a timeout. Obviously, them looking at it would be forced from the replay booth. That looks like a great catch, just brilliant by a guy who was a wide receiver playing collegiately at Washington.
Yeah, you see that they catch Micah Hyde, who's looking to the inside and doesn't give any help, and it opens up that boundary throw for Russell Wilson. And yeah, there was no doubt in visiting with Darrell Bevell that Reese had a role, and because of his background as a receiver, they felt that they could do some things. And you know, here on this possession here, as we wind down this first half, they get a nice completion.
Darrell Bevell, who spent 6 years as an assistant here in Green Bay, 3 of them as Brett Favre's quarterbacks coach. Biggest deficit the Seahawks have faced all year. Here's a free play the other way. Wilson, why not? Down the field. Can he get a play? Broken up. But this call is against Green Bay at the snap.
Offside, number 94, defense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
That's against Dean Lowry, and Wilson had 2 receivers in the same area, Curse and Lockett.
Well, Lockett, he gets pushed out wide. He's trying to run up the seam, and then he sees the ball thrown, and he comes out trying to make a play on the ball. That shouldn't happen. That's on Lockett for diverting off of his route. But this possession right here, if the Seahawks are able to come away with any kind of points here at the end of this first half, this would be a nice momentum swing for them.
They start the second half with a ball. Here's a throw, downfield, picked, intercepted. Back the other way, Randall, as he stepped in front of Baldwin. What a play by Demarius Randall.
Looked like a wide receiver on that play. Demarius Randall, wow, he makes up some ground. And being able to track this ball, and Russell Wilson, he throws it, you know, pretty well on the move, and then trying to get his body turned to get something behind that throw. I thought when he let it go, it was going to be 6 points, but man, Demarius Randall, he comes out of nowhere and makes a heck of a play on that ball.
His second interception at a guy who missed 6 games with groin surgery. It's his 3rd game back, and they have missed a healthy Demarius Randall. What a play on the ball he made. There was a touchdown sitting there for Doug Baldwin.
Yeah, big time play, and he was questionable really coming into this game. He had missed some practice time. He had been sick. Of course, the groin surgery you talked about. Anyway, he shows up big and killing what could have been a drive for some points for Seattle to end this half.
Russell Wilson, the first time with 2 interceptions in the first half in the regular season. But the Packer fans are thinking about that NFC Championship game at the end of the 2014 season. when Seattle trailed at home 16-0 at the half and came back and won it in overtime. But this has been a half dominated by Green Bay. A 66-yarder to start the scoring to Davante Adams, and the first of 2 picks. Morgan Burnett. Ty Montgomery would punch it in. Head coach Mike McCarthy happy with a touchdown throw to Jordy Nelson. And it's a 21-3 game at the half, and Richard Sherman and Aaron Rodgers for the conversation as they make their way off the field. Kurt Menefee and the guys standing by. Visa halftime coming your way. What a half for the Pack. Up 18. Kurt, all yours.
Welcome to the Visa Halftime Report. Visa, everywhere you want to be.
As we welcome you to the Visa Halftime TV, the people have spoken. Let's get right to the highlights.
People have spoken. I like that. Saints at the Buccaneers. Jameis Winston right there getting them fired up. Hands off to old Doug Martin. He wants to go outside, then sees a crease down inside and just slithers through for a 1-yard touchdown. Buccaneers up 10-0 over the Saints. Then Drew Brees' pass is tipped and intercepted by Vernon Hargreaves. 13-8. Buccaneers on top of the Saints at the half. Falcons at the Rams. Julio Jones out with a toe injury for Atlanta. Second quarter, Matt Ryan finding his man, Tevin Coleman. He takes it from 6 yards out. It's 14-0 Atlanta. And then back comes Jared Goff, the first pick in the draft. Does not see the inside linebacker, Deion Jones. He returns this interception. 33 yards, all Atlanta on the road, 21-0 over the Rams. Jets at the 49ers. Colin Kaepernick rolling right into the flat. He finds Carlos Hyde, who breaks a tackle. Great strength and effort by Hyde to get in. 17-3, 49ers on top of the New York Jets.
Earlier today, Washington knocked off Philadelphia. Miami won the game but lost Ryan Tannehill. Torn ACL, he's done for the season. The Vikings get back to their winning ways. The Panthers knock off the San Diego Chargers. The Steelers win their 4th in a row. The Lions win their 5th straight. And Denver loses by 3 in Tennessee. The Texans take care of the Colts. Cincinnati keeps Cleveland winless. And a game that most of you are watching, the Packers with a 21-3 lead here at halftime. And Howie, while Aaron Rodgers is red hot, it's just the opposite for Russell Wilson.
And I think a lot of us thought Seattle would turn the corner offensively, and today was a great opportunity for Seattle and Russell Wilson to have a big day. He's been off, to say the least. Here on an overthrow to Graham, wide open. This is a touchdown. And on an inside route, Morgan Burnett picks him off, trying to go to Graham again, and then rolling to his left, looking for Baldwin. Demarius Randall with the pick. It has been a brutal day for this offense. I'll be interested to see what this team looks like when they come out from that locker room after the first half.
Well, you saw the numbers on Russell Wilson there as we get to the Visa play of the first half. Aaron Rodgers, 12 of 15, 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, including this one to Davante Adams. Come on back for more highlights. Some of you, others get local news.
Wednesday is the biggest event on television at a special time, 8/7.
Half football. Green Bay Packers trying to string together wins. Up 18.5. Moments brought to you by Head and Shoulders. First half moments brought to you by Head and Shoulders. Meanwhile, in this game, it's an 18-point affair. And a comparison of the two quarterbacks. It's been all world for Aaron Rodgers despite the limp. And it's been 2 first half interceptions for the first time for Russell Wilson in the regular season. In the still young career, he's only in his 5th year. He's got 54 wins. His win percentage is number 2 to Tom Brady. And his total victories over his first 5 seasons just 2 shy of Matt Ryan for the best beginning to a career ever. That's how good Russell Wilson has been, but he's got a big hill to climb here in the second half if anybody's capable. Russell Wilson's history tells you he's the guy. Tyler Lockett on the return. Little room to run near side, and a good return brought down by Morgan Burnett. And a return for Lockett of 33 yards. Let's go down to Aaron.
Well, Joe, right behind me, Aaron Rodgers coming onto the field late. I actually asked his head coach, Mike McCarthy, what was wrong with him. He said, obviously, he's working through something. I don't want to reveal what it is, but he is working through it. As for Jared Cook, Mike McCarthy said it is not looking good for him. He will have an update for me in a minute. I asked Mike McCarthy why their offense, though, was doing so well against his defense. He said, we have to keep it simple because everybody is getting hurt, Joe.
Aaron, thanks. First play from scrimmage, second half. Russell Wilson flushed out, just flips it. That's a completion, and it's Rawls on the other end of it. Knocked down, but a gain of 7.
Well, follow up on Aaron's report on Aaron Rodgers. I watching him, you know, he had the hamstring. It was his left hamstring, if I remember correctly, and it's been bothering him, but it looks to me like it's something to do with his right side, and whether it's his foot, right hamstring, knee, something, but that's the area that I would think is what's bothering him. We'll see how it affects him. You know, certainly not able to be as mobile and do some of the things flushing out of the pocket that we saw from him early in this game.
Wilson out to his right. Pass is caught. Wilson got a hit on the end of the play, and Baldwin's got a first down.
And when you showed the comparison between the two quarterbacks, and you know, Russell Wilson having a pretty pedestrian day against this secondary that has not been very good against really anyone this year. But Russell Wilson had his opportunities. He's had some chances for some big plays and has failed to connect on those, and then some shorter throws that would have advanced the chain. So more of that on some of his inaccuracies, more so than anything Green Bay's done defensively.
On first down, they do hand it to Rawls, and Rawls showing what he can do, gets 10. Knocked down by Ladarius Gunter. I know Packer fans don't want to hear it, but it was a 16-0 score at the half in that NFC Championship game 2 seasons ago in Seattle. And the incredible succession of events that happened, including a whiff on an onside kick recovery by Brandon Bostic, a tight end. And there was Seattle with an overtime touchdown throw to Jermaine Kearse, headed to the Super Bowl. Down 18 here today. And Rawls on first down gets 2.
Well, the one thing we do know, Joe, is Seattle's not going to panic, and there's a belief, and it all comes down from Pete Carroll. But Russell Wilson plays into that too. He's very positive. He always believes there's going to be an opportunity and somebody is going to make a play. This is early. It's the opening possession of the second half, and you know, they find ways to make plays seemingly, and as you said, nobody knows that better than the Green Bay Packers.
2nd and 8. Pass is caught. That's Reese. They're going to be happy to have this guy. They lost their normal fullback, Will Tukuafu. And Marcel Reese, it's not that often you get a 4-time Pro Bowl fullback. You started to go there, and then something else happened. He was a receiver at Washington in college, and Al Davis saw him and said, "You're my fullback," and he's become a Pro Bowl fullback.
Yeah, and Al Davis is one of those guys you just don't argue with when he tells you what position you're going to play. And heck, he had been out of football since September, and he hadn't even played in a game since December of last year.
Here's Rawls cutting it back, and a first down carry. Survives a hit down at the 20. And he went right through Demarius Randall, a gain of 15.
Well, we talk about Thomas Rawls and how tough he is, and he looks for contact. Yeah, he goes right over the top of Demarius Randall, and I wouldn't want to be out there trying to make a tackle on him. They're happy to have him back healthy, and he's, like I said earlier, he's one of the main reasons, one of the number of guys who have gotten healthy that have given this offense a lot of optimism going forward, but it's been a tough fight here in this game.
Little play action, pass to the end zone, incomplete. Jimmy Graham was the target. Aaron, what's up?
Well, another guy people are excited about having back was Jared Cook, and we see him walking back on the field late. Guys, he is done for the day with a chest injury.
Well, that's a big weapon, especially taking on a Seattle defense that doesn't have Earl Thomas. You would think throws down the middle. That's where Cook would operate. Without Thomas, that'd be a big advantage, but he's out.
Yeah, some of those seam routes, and that's the one thing we've not seen that I expected to see maybe a little bit more, trying to test Stephen Terrell.
Here's one left side, and pass is picked off by Rollins. Curse was the intended target, and that is interception number 3. And let's take a look at the coverage.
I think Ladarius Gunner got away with one. There was contact prior to the ball arriving. They don't get the call.
Another pick for Wilson.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. By FedEx. How the holidays arrive. And by Walmart. Celebrate the holidays with Walmart. Find gifts, groceries, and fast checkouts.
Well, a 3-interception day for Russell Wilson. And this last one we'll take another look at. Troy talked about maybe Green Bay got away with one there. We'll check in with our rules expert and our security blanket back in Los Angeles, Mike Pereira, when we get a chance here to go through that play. Meanwhile, the Packers take over at the 20. Defense has played terrific for Mike McCarthy today. Nelson was down at the bottom, and Randall Cobb gets it on the handoff. There you go. You were calling for that earlier, and now a flag is down on the near sideline. It's against Seattle.
Personal foul, grasping the face mask, number 57 defense. 15 yards, first down.
That's against Mike Morgan, who was iffy with a bad hip. Gets called for a face mask foul, and that will bring the ball all the way out to the 35. Here's the penalty, 57.
There he is right here at the bottom of the screen.
You got Joe Carriage.
Yeah, which had nothing to do with the play either, but he definitely got a hold. It was a good pickup by the officials.
Still waiting on Mike Pereira when we get a chance. First down, Green Bay, up by 18. Another broken play. The two fullbacks were in there, Carriage and Ripkowski. And Rodgers just spun around and went down, a loss of 2. Mike Pereira, what'd you see on that interception? Was that a pass interference or a good no call?
You know, Joe, I think it's a good no call. I also think it's probably why it's good the pass interference is not reviewable, because defender has inside leverage, turns around as the ball gets there. Receiver puts his arms out on his shoulders. I think you let them fight their way downfield, and I think that was a good decision not to call interference.
Mild protest well after the play put up by Pete Carroll. We showed you there. It goes down as another takeaway, 3-0 in that category in Montgomery. And now the Seattle defense trying to get after it. Tony McDaniel makes the play, and a loss of 4, and Seattle's D has got to step it up.
Yeah, they do. They need to start flexing their muscle, as we've seen from them so many times. And Tony McDaniel makes a nice play past Lane Taylor, the left guard. But to go back to Mike and the interception, just another missed opportunity for Seattle to try to come away with some points. They had a nice drive going. The interception before the end of the half, they had a nice drive going. And Russell Wilson has the interception to Demarius Randall there. So just have not been able to finish off some key drives.
Here's a third down play. It's Montgomery, and Montgomery has got nowhere to go. Out of bounds. Forced out by Shed. It's 4th down, and Seattle will get the ball right back.
You got TJ Lang. He's slow to get up right now. Of course, he's missed a number of games. He returned this evening, and
he and Frank Clark are getting into it. Meanwhile, the play clock is winding down. It's already at 15. So the Packers have to hurry a bit here, and Lang's got to get off the field. And now they just reset the play clock. So Shum will punt, and Tyler Lockett waits for it. Line drive punt, not very good. And it goes backward. Tapped down by Micah Hyde. But good starting field position. Decent outside their own 30 for Seattle. And Russell Wilson down 18. The Seattle Seahawks have not won here at Lambeau since 1999. 7-9 all-time record against Green Bay. 1-2 in the postseason. 1-7 overall here. Down by 18, starting at their own 33. And a handoff is to Rawls. A flag came down. It looked like the nose tackle came across early. We'll see if that was the call.
Offside, number 97, defense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Yeah, there was movement up front, and this time they get Kenny Clark for coming across early. Watch him shoot across just before the snap.
Kenny Clark, one of those young players out of UCLA that has had a nice rookie season. I know Mike Daniels sure thinks a lot of him, a young player as he came into this league, but he's gotten better each week. He's got a bright future for this defense.
Play action from Wilson, steps up, takes off, and slides down short of the first down. Tuesday, the Big East College hoops excitement reaches a whole new level with #1 Villanova. It's the court against Temple. The action tips off Tuesday night at 7 Eastern on FS1. And a former star on the hardwood, Jimmy Graham, been thrown to 3 times, no catches. That's hard to believe.
It is hard to believe. He's had himself a nice year. Yeah, they found some things coming off that injury last year. They got him more and more acclimated within the offense and done a lot of nice things, but have not been able to get him involved here in this game.
2nd and 2. Wilson finds a man, and it's another pick off the chest of Baldwin. Intercepted by Randall, and a nightmare for Russell Wilson at Lambeau Field. And that one's on Baldwin.
Yeah, I'll say. It hits him right between the numbers, and he has a chance to make a play. Demarius Randall even goes down, and he is able to come up and make a play on it. And actually, not between the numbers, hits him right in the helmet, right through his hands. And Demarius Randall, who falls down himself, he just stays with it and makes a play on the ball. And yeah, not a good night for this Seattle offense, and just too many turnovers and too many short fields for this Green Bay offense.
Russell Wilson now with 9 interceptions in 5 games against the Packers, regular season and postseason. And there's the day. 4 interceptions. And that one not on him. But some missed receivers as well along the way for Wilson. One of the game's stars. Preston Michael in the backfield. Rodgers stays upright and finds Nelson. And now a Seattle Seahawk is slow to get up. An 18-yard completion. Cliff Averill can't get to his feet.
We'll take a look and make sure that Jordy Nelson is able to secure the catch, but
and now they're saying incomplete. Going to the ground.
They get pressure with Cliff Averill. He's the one who's down on the ground, and that's something they just have not been able to do against Rodgers. They've not been able to get pressure on him. And take another look at the end of this play. From Jordy Nelson, the ball comes out as he's going through the catch, and they rule that it's incomplete. But this defense just throughout this game they've not, even now with a limited mobility in Aaron Rodgers, they've just not been able to get to him and apply any type of pressure to disrupt him.
Initially they said pass was complete. Another official came in when that ball popped out, when Nelson went to the ground on the sideline and said incomplete. No argument from Nelson. Looked like the proper overrule and call, and now 2nd and 10. And Averill's on the sideline. Saw Ty Montgomery injured a bit earlier, and now he's back. All this was going on, and Aaron Rodgers.
Just business as usual.
Pete Carroll is hopeful that his defense can come away with a turnover. 4 Seattle turnovers, none for Green Bay. The story of this game. Now flags at the start of the play. And they pick it up as it looks like maybe Mike McCarthy called a timeout. A lot of standing around, and now Mike McCarthy threw the challenge flag.
The ruling on the field of an incomplete pass.
Well, Nelson didn't complain, but Mike McCarthy wants another look. He's in the air. He's going to the ground. Ball comes out. We do not think Green Bay wins the challenge.
Today's game is sponsored by Verizon. It's always a great gift on Verizon.
Here's the call.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The pass is incomplete. The receiver was going to the ground and did not maintain possession. Green Bay will be charged with their first team timeout.
Mike Pereira, take us through it.
Well, here's the issue. Jordy goes airborne, comes down. As soon as his second foot hits the ground, he's contacted. That takes him to the ground, and he has to hold on to it after he hits the ground, which he doesn't.
So a challenge that I think caught everybody by surprise, and that will cost Mike McCarthy a timeout. Packers have 1 challenge left. It's 2nd and 10. Ball at the 32. So inside field goal range for Crosby already. Rodgers backs up as he throws, finds Adams, and Adams runs into Cam Chancellor. 3rd down coming up in the turnover battle. That tells the story. You see the turnovers. Points off. It's 3rd down and 6 here.
Yeah, what also tells the story is the job that this offensive line has done throughout this game, really all season long. They've been amazing in pass protection, and they have been really good. We talked about Seattle the last 2 weeks not being able to get sacks. They just have not really been able to get near Aaron Rodgers in this game, and he's been able to carve them up.
Pass is caught by Adams, and Adams has got a 1st down. Deshaun Shedd in coverage and a gain of 8.
They've pretty much been going after Deshaun Shedd throughout this game, and Davante Adams, we've seen him get deep and have some opportunities, but these moves right there at the top of the route, the suddenness of coming back, getting out of the breaks, that's how you create the separation in running routes, and that's what Aaron Rodgers has really appreciated the most in him, is some of the sudden movements that he has that are just subtle within a route, but it's the difference in creating separation for your quarterback and then being covered.
What a 7-game run Adams has been on, over 100 yards for the day. Here's Montgomery. Ty Montgomery takes it inside the 15-yard line. A gain of 6, and these have not been easy yards at times, but Montgomery does not mind the contact.
No, he doesn't at all. That was a good run, and he's just gotten more and more comfortable with what he's seen. And I'm pretty amazed by it. I think it's an incredible transition to go from playing wide receiver to carrying the football in the National Football League at the tailback position. And Aaron Rodgers thought, even before they made the move, that he would make an excellent running back, and he's been good.
Rodgers all day. Incomplete. The Seahawks are working their way toward their 3rd straight game without a sack, which would be the first time in franchise history. And again, to heap more praise on the offensive line for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, and we've seen it other times. Remember that playoff game for Aaron Rodgers against the Dallas Cowboys. When he couldn't hardly move, there was questions as to whether or not he would even play in that game. He's only been hit 3 times, knocked down twice, but he's able to manage the injury. And even that last play, typically he would scramble out, buy more time, and give his players an opportunity. He's unable to do that. He's pretty much isolated to the pocket right now.
Big third down here. This one is caught, and a flag for the hit. K.J. Wright delivered the hit on Richard Rodgers, and somehow Rodgers hung on. And then the flags for the hit. Man.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 50 of the defense. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
You could see Mike Pereira confirming this is a good call from back in L.A. A defenseless player, and it was the head that snapped back first for Richard Rodgers.
Well, you're just glad that Richard Rodgers got up. That was a big time hit, and right to the head. And you're right, hanging on to the football was impressive enough. You're just happy that he's okay and he's able to get up and continue to play.
And then he's watching it up on the video board. Meanwhile, with the injury to Jared Cook, who's out for the rest of the game, Rodgers is the only tight end left, and he's down at the bottom here.
Yeah, they've used that matchup before when Cook lined up out there, and that's Deshaun Shedd, who they've gone after in this game.
First and goal. Rodgers, end zone, pass. Caught for the touchdown, Jordy Nelson. His second of the day.
Well, initially they're trying to get the ball to Richard Rodgers, and there was some confusion down there at the bottom as Rodgers collides there inside with Jordy Nelson, and so Aaron Rodgers just keeping the play alive. You see him start to his left, he steps up in the pocket, and no inside pressure whatsoever allows Jordy Nelson to free himself up, works back towards the pylon, knowing his quarterback is looking for him. That's all a product of great protection up front by that offensive line.
What a catch by Nelson. What a game by Aaron Rodgers. Crosby for the extra point. And it's 28-3, and it started with the interception. Off the helmet of Doug Baldwin. Into the air and picked by Demarius Randall. And Aaron Rodgers celebrating another touchdown. 28-3 pack. The Packers play like this. There isn't a team in the NFC that wants any part of what we're seeing here today, taking on a good Seattle team that is a win away from clinching the NFC West. That seems to be a foregone conclusion. Statistically, for Russell Wilson, there's the day. 4 interceptions. The last one not really on him at all. He's missed a couple of wide open receivers. You can see Wilson trying to pump up the guys on the sideline, but it is a 25-point game. And with a loss here, Seattle does fall out of the number 2 seed in the NFC playoff picture. We'll get into that as we go. Here's Lockett, able to cross the 30. And so now Russell Wilson will head back to work. I'm Joe Buck along with the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman, and man, this is really some kind of exhibition being put on by the Green Bay Packers.
It's been impressive. You know, I mean, they were on a 2-game win streak coming into this game, and then they're facing a really good defensive team that just simply does not give up points. Nobody has scored more than 3 touchdowns against this defense, and yet the Packers had that in the first half, and they have done an excellent job protecting a limited mobility quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, and he's been on his game. And you're right, when he's healthy and he's on, this is a tough team to beat.
Wilson's going to be sacked again, ball out. And they're going to say, while Coleman is that Wilson was down. Dayton Jones ripped it out. And the left knee was down before the ball came out.
Yeah, pretty close there, but right now the Packers, they know what the situation is, and with the score 28-3, and they got to start creating some big plays, and they're going to pin their ears back, and Dom Capers is going to have these guys coming after him. We saw Julius Peppers, he's out there on the field, and no Clay Matthews right now. He's been limited throughout much of this game, but they know that the Seahawks are going to have to start throwing the ball virtually on every down to get back in it.
Flag is down.
Delay of the game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
So another one on Russell Wilson. A lot of movement at the line of scrimmage with the Packers coming across and able to get back on side. And the play clock expires on number 3. Coming off 3 straight possessions with interceptions at the end of them. 2nd and 18. Wilson. That's Luke Wilson, the tight end. Gets the hit and takes it out to the 34. Quentin Rollins on the tackle, a gain of 11.
Well, Dayton Jones, he comes around the corner and he takes, right here at the bottom, he takes out Russell Wilson right at the end of this play. These guys, these pass rushers, they know when there's blood in the water, and they know that right now the Seahawks have to throw it. They're going to try to get some numbers of their own, and you see the number of times that Russell Wilson has been hit and knocked down in this game.
Third down and 7. Pass is dropped again. Tyler Lockett may not have been able to make a move for the first down anyway, but that's a couple of drops now on Seattle. That was right into his chest.
An opportunity. I think you're right. Ladarius Gunner, who, as I said earlier in this game, he came in as the 4th corner to start the season. Sam Shields goes down after week 1, and Demarius Randall's out for a period of time. Quentin Rollins, and he's been the main guy. He's been the only guy who's been there each and every week. He was there in position. Even if Lockett catches that ball, I don't think he picks up the first down.
Ryan hits a knuckleball. Somehow Micah Hyde catches it. Flag is down, and Hyde is out at the 35. The question about Seattle, and the call is for a hold here, is who are they? You know, they had the terrible game at Tampa Bay, albeit without their center, Justin Britt.
Return, holding, number 28, return team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
This is against Josh Hawkins. Then they had a season-high 534 Seattle did last week against Carolina. There's the hold. But today, no good in Green Bay and down 25. America's Game of the Week continues here at Lambeau Field, and the Green Bay Packers have had all the fun, 28-3. The Seahawks, 3 games with fewer than 10 points this season, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about who and what are they offensively. The last 2 road games have been terrible, at Tampa Bay and now here at Green Bay. Here's Christine Michael. Michael on first down gets 8. Small screen, stadium-sized content. Watch live local Sunday games on your smartphone with NFL Mobile. Troy, we haven't talked a lot about the loss of Earl Thomas, who's on IR with a fractured tibia. He suffered in the first half last week at home against Carolina. Arguably the best safety in the game with his range and all that he does. They are really going to miss him.
Well, there's no doubt that they definitely miss him. You don't replace Earl Thomas. I think what Green Bay's been able to do, you know, Earl Thomas does not impact those plays.
Here's Michael trying to pick up a first down, and he does. Here's the injury last week against Carolina.
Yeah, but you see the range even on this injury that he has, that Earl Thomas has when he comes over and he makes a play. Now, the throws that Aaron Rodgers has been able to make today have not been up the seam. which is really where Earl Thomas would be making an impact. Sometimes he would be able to get over the top on the outside throws, but nothing I've seen today would change with Earl Thomas being in the game. Having said that, Earl definitely brings an attitude to this defense that could be impacting them. They've never given up, as I said, more than 3 touchdowns in a game all season. Now, they haven't faced Aaron Rodgers this year either. But this is a different looking defense from the one we've seen most of this year.
Here's Michael, gets a yard. Cliff Averill up to make the stop. And to give you the playoff picture, a loss here for the Seattle Seahawks slips them out of that first round bye territory. They would go down to the number 3 seed. And you look at Atlanta, they are well on their way to a victory in Los Angeles. That game is just ugly, but they would be a number 3 seed. Now there's a long way to go. There are 3 more games to be played, and Detroit got some bad news on the throwing hand of Matthew Stafford after their win over Chicago, and their schedule is tough the rest of the way. Seattle's is not. Down goes Aaron Rodgers, and there's the first sack in 3 games for Seattle. It belongs to Ataba Rubin.
Yeah, that's a shame by TJ Lang, because he was actually in good pass protection. It was just time ran out and it gives up the sack, but
time runs out on quarter number 3. It'll be 3rd down and long for Green Bay when we come back after this from your local Fox station. Of course, physically, we're going to have Stafford's first sack, and it took him a while to get down to the other end of the field. You wouldn't know it by the numbers. The passer rating is not too far away from perfect, but he doesn't feel perfect, and a big part of his game and his arsenal is gone, and that is his ability to run. 3rd and 17 here. He just shovels it to Montgomery. He's got blockers in front of him, and a good play. Wagner and Chancellor to avoid a first.
Well, you're not kidding. I mean, Ty Montgomery had the ball. It looked like he was going to pick up that first down with ease. Cam Chancellor got to where the first down was, and he just rocks Montgomery completely backwards with Montgomery at full speed. Wow, that tells you how tough Cam Chancellor is.
Second-year pro Jacob Shum to punt on 4th and 1. 3rd and 17. They got 16, and now they act like they're going to fake it. Ty Montgomery went up under center in a timeout. If nothing else, it forces Seattle to use a timeout.
Team timeout. Seattle.
And there's Rodgers after that 3rd down catch and run by Montgomery, getting over to the sideline.
Yeah, and you can tell it's the right leg, you know, so it's opposite the hamstring that had been giving him some problems. And I don't know, when you get out here and you're playing, Joe, and you have an injury like that, and the adrenaline's going, and you're warmed up, and you play through a lot, and you just wonder, you know, just what the injury is and how he's going to feel once he cools off and wakes up tomorrow.
Well, the Packers going forward are at Chicago, at home against the Vikings, and that's on Christmas Eve. And then week 17 at Detroit. And that NFC North is still there for them if they get a little bit of help. Good punt here by Shum, his best of the day. He avoids the return by Lockett, drilled a spiral that went out of bounds, and they will mark it at just outside the 17. 49-yard punt. Seattle has it down 25. Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award, presented by Nationwide, recognizes NFL players who have made a significant impact on both the game and in their communities. Each NFL team nominates one player for the award, with the winner being announced at the NFL Honors Awards show airing on Fox the night before the Super Bowl. This year's nominee for the Seahawks, Cliff Averill. The Packers is Jaron Elliott. To learn about all of this year's nominees, visit NFL.com/Man of the Year. Now you see Aaron, and now you don't. Into the magic booth. Little tent down there on the sideline, which is a nice addition to an NFL sideline over the years. Here's Wilson out to his right. Throws back across the field and finds Baldwin for a gain of 8.
Well, there's some, I guess, at home that would probably think with the score 28-3 and the quarterback Rodgers banged up, just how much longer are you going to see him? But you know, this is a dangerous team, the Seattle team, and you know, based on what we've talked about already and in the other game, the championship game, they're not going to take any chances. I think they get halfway through this fourth quarter before they start trying to make any changes at that position.
It's been a tough day for Russell Wilson. Pass incomplete here on 2nd down, and it'll be 3rd down. You see the pressure, the hits, the sacks. He's been sacked a couple of times, but he's been under fire, and he's thrown 4 interceptions in this game and missed a couple of open targets.
Yeah, and I think Dom Capers and this defense, you know, are to be applauded for the job that they've done. Like we said, this is an offense that, you know, 3 of the last 4 weeks they've been outstanding. They've held up well against them today.
Here's a pass for a 1st down caught by Alex Collins. And there's Julius Peppers in the middle of that play. Gain of 6. Here's Kurt with a game break.
Well, the Vic Beasley Awakening Tour continues. 3 sacks today. He's tied for the league lead at 13.5, and this one is a strip sack for a touchdown against the Rams. 42-0 Atlanta leads it right now. Joe?
Kurt, thanks. 1st down here. Pass is high for Curse. And Russell Wilson's been just a little bit off all afternoon and evening. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, the defensive lineman kind of in the throwing lane there. I don't know if that's why it sailed on him or not, but he's missed some throws. You know, sometimes these conditions, it's difficult to get a good grip on these balls when they're as cold as what they are. And I don't know if the weather has had an impact on his ability to grip it and throw it as accurately as he's capable of, but he's missed a lot of throws.
2nd and 10, down he goes. Jaron Elliott. The Walter Payton Man of the Year announcement for the Green Bay Packers onto the back of Russell Wilson.
Now, Jaron Elliott, he's going against George Fant, the undrafted rookie at left tackle. And one area where Fant has struggled is against some speed rushers, you know, on that left side. And Fant just creates no obstacle whatsoever for Elliott. He drills Russell Wilson.
1st sack of the year for Elliott. Now Wilson on 3rd down throws and somehow gets it into Tyler Lockett. It'll be short of a 1st down, but the Seahawks are going to have to go for it on 4th.
This time they got Alex Collins right here, and he's going to give a little bit of help. Bevel says we can't allow that on the backside of my quarterback, and so they help him, and they're able to complete the pass. And of course, down 28-3. There's no decision to be made here, going for it on 4th down.
Wilson throws it away. It's 4th down, and the Seahawks turn it over on downs. Big pressure on the play by Clay Matthews. Christian Ringo, who came on the field late, with push up the middle, and Matthews off the edge. And the Packers take over up 25. Well, Aaron Rodgers' day, it appears, is finished. And here is Brett Hundley. 5th round pick last year from UCLA. He's been a preseason star. Gets a chance to play a little bit here against a good Seattle defense. The score and maybe the lower body and whatever injury is bothering Aaron Rodgers dictating this move as Kristen Michael carries over the right side for 2. And now flag at the end of it. More post-play stuff from the Seattle Seahawks, it appears, and Averill is screaming at somebody in the Green Bay huddle. Here's Walt Coleman.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 56 defense, 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Trying to calm down Cliff Averill. And And he was a Walter Payton Man of the Year Award nominee on the other side.
Right now, though, Joe, if I'm a Packers fan, I'd be a little bit concerned about Aaron Rodgers. You know, with 11 minutes to play and the fact that they've taken him out of the game. You know, if this was a hamstring and you can hand off and still throw from within the pocket, I think he would still be in the game. I just think there's a lot of time on the clock, and so the fact that he's not in the game, I would be concerned. But I guess we'll find that out in time. But you know, nevertheless, Brett Hundley, he gets his opportunity. He's got to know the situation, and clearly they're going to be conservative with it. But he's got to be smart with the football when he throws.
Here's Michael left side. It could have helped the situation a little bit that the Green Bay Packers took over after fourth down incompletion at the Seattle 39-yard line. But this is the day for Aaron Rodgers. And he's been limping around, and it's gotten worse as we've gone forward in this game. He's obviously been bothered by the bad left hamstring, but I think you're right in looking at that, determining that it's something on the right side for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and I know in visiting with him yesterday and asking him specifically about the hamstring, he said that he was good to go, and he didn't say much anyway when it comes to injuries, but he acted like the hamstring was not an issue whatsoever.
Play action, Hundley going to put it up, and he throws incomplete. Ripkowski was the closest one to him. Davante Adams was beyond Ripkowski, and it's 3rd and 8. This guy can move. He is a UCLA quarterback that was drafted to be a Green Bay Packer. I'm standing next to a UCLA quarterback that was almost drafted to be a Green Bay Packer back in 1989.
Yep, came down to the last week of the season back in 1988. Magic Man Mikowski was the quarterback, and they went to Arizona. In fact, I was at that game. The Packers won that game. The Cowboys lost their last game of the season, and the Cowboys got the pick.
3rd down and 8. Hundley, end zone, Adams incomplete. Sherman defending. With 10:32, the field goal unit comes on. Here's that 1989 draft and the first 5 picks. Tony Mandarich ended up here in Green Bay. That didn't go well. Barry Sanders, Derek Thomas, Deion Sanders. An old 8-ball sitting on top of them all.
Well, Lindy Infante was the head coach in Green Bay at the time, and he told me, in fact, he made a visit to California, told me if the Packers had the #1 pick, they were taking me, and a lot of things might have changed if that had happened.
You love throwing a wet ball.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
38-yard field goal by Crosby. The lead 28 for Mike McCarthy.
Today's game is sponsored by the new film Sing, in theaters this Christmas.
The Green Bay Packers will get ready for their next game. As you look at some injured quarterbacks, we'll get into this in a second. Torn ACL for Tannehill, just bad news for a Dolphins team on the rise, and Adam Gase. And Matthew Stafford with a torn ligament in his throwing hand. The word is he'll wear a glove the rest of the season. The Green Bay Packers have a game at Chicago next week. They have a game at home against the Vikings the following week. The Detroit Lions will be at the Giants, at the Dallas Cowboys, and then it's a Week 17 matchup between Green Bay and Detroit. So that's why we say it's right there for the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings because of the upcoming schedule for the battle in the NFC North. Green Bay beat Detroit Week 3 here at Lambeau. Here's Lockett out on the edge, trying to turn this into a big play, and it's Burnett on the tackle. Lockett gets a first down.
Meanwhile, for Seattle, this was the big game for them. As you look at their remaining games, it's a schedule that's very favorable. Of the teams that are in the hunt, theirs is probably as easy as anyone's. You know, having said that, none of these games are particularly easy, but this was the big test, coming in here to Lambeau and you know, playing well and finding a way to win a game against this Packers team. And this looks more like the Tampa game 2 weeks ago than what they had shown outside of that. They'd been playing some pretty good football outside of the Tampa Bay game, but Boy, they just have not been very competitive. The offense struggled, and the defense, who has held them in games when they've struggled offensively, they just couldn't do it against the red-hot Aaron Rodgers.
Demarius Randall got attention on the sideline. He is up and able to jog across. Guy who's coming off groin surgery, his 3rd game back. This is a young secondary. They don't have their top cover corner in Sam Shields, who's on IR. Played in week 1, suffered a concussion, and he's been lost. That was a big hit for Green Bay's defense. Now 1st down for Seattle with the ball at their own 38. Wilson guns it. Pass is caught for a 1st down. That's the first catch of the game for Jimmy Graham. 16-yard completion. And catch number 58 on the year. Wilson buys time and finds Lockett on the sideline with a catch of a fastball before he went out of bounds.
Well, this Packers defense and Dom Capers, they're basically in a prevent style, and they're just going to say, well, hey, 31-3, under 10 minutes to play. We're just going to keep from giving up the big play. So you're going to see Seattle, if Russell Wilson's willing to take the underneath things, they should be able to move the ball down, and then they'll try to tighten it up when they get a little bit closer. But there'll be some yards picked up. This defense has really up to this point has done a heck of a job.
Now Wilson out to his right. Here's Lockett. 1st down inside the 35 to the 33. And now they're marking back at the 34, a gain of 7. Well, for those fantasy owners of Russell Wilson, you're looking at his worst of the season with 4 interceptions. A chance to maybe get some yardage and some points here down the stretch. Curse right through his hands. Kurtz was in position, went up to get it, and just missed it. Gunter in coverage.
Yeah, and this time they did man up on the outside. Press coverage with Ladarius Gunter, which is what he's best at doing. And this goes right through Kurtz's hands. It's a great opportunity. I mean, as off as Russell Wilson has been, these receivers as a whole, they've not been too good either.
Also, Wilson was quoted during the week saying, I hope it'll be a downpour of snow. A guy who finished his collegiate career at Wisconsin. He didn't get the snow during the game. Got it this morning. A cold day. Here is Collins out of the backfield. And Collins going to take it to the 21. Here's how we walked into the stadium. We got here early enough. And the crew doing their great job as they always do. 9 o'clock here Central Time. And boy, the field was in great condition. Covered during the snowstorm.
Yeah, it really was. The groundskeeping crew, they did a heck of a job keeping this field ready to be played on.
Here's one to the end zone. Passes caught for the touchdown. McAvoy. And McAvoy's been thrown to twice, and on a day where Russell Wilson has had 3 drops. It's the young rookie McAvoy. Catch, right foot, left foot down, and he secures it going to the ground. That's a heck of a grab by McAvoy, his 2nd touchdown.
You see Demarius Randall, they were in a 2-deep look, and Clinton Dix, he just was not able to get over the top in time. Right, McAvoy, they've gone to him now a couple of times. He makes a nice catch. More importantly, he's able to establish himself in the end zone for the touchdown.
Two Wisconsin Badgers on a cold day hooking up in Lambeau. With number 3, Russell Wilson finding the rookie McAvoy, and it's a 21-point game at Lambeau. This is a 21-point game now. 8:21 left. Seattle had to use a timeout on special teams, defending a punt on 4th and 1. Packers right now are at least ready for an onside kick try. But I'll go back to what you said, and I think you're exactly right. It was early to pull Aaron Rodgers out. It just leads you to believe that injury is more the reason as opposed to scoreboard for Aaron Rodgers being in that position as opposed to getting ready with his helmet on to come out and play. It's going to be in the hands of Brett Hundley. Seattle looks like they're going to try the onside kick. And it's recovered. What Bostic couldn't do, the current tight end Richard Rodgers can do. Sorry, Brandon Bostic. We got to quit talking about that. Here is Packers against the Seahawks in 2014, and this poor guy, everything that happened before and after, none of it mattered if Bostic comes down with that onside kick. It was recovered by Seattle. They ended up winning it in overtime on a 35-yarder to Jermaine Kearse.
I don't know that we even needed to show that, or you even needed to comment on it. As soon as everyone saw Seattle going to the onside kick, immediately they were brought back to that moment.
Bad. I'm sorry.
Well, that was, you feel terrible for
Richie Zients, our producer. So now from the 44.
Green 18.
See how Hundley does. He hands off, and it's Michael spinning. What a run. Gets 9. And he shows a burst, and he'd like to show his team that they made a mistake not once but twice getting rid of him.
Yeah, and I really expected coming into this game that, and they did get him the ball a little bit early. Aaron Rodgers was just so, on his game throwing the football that kind of went that route. But I really expected Christine Michael to get some opportunities early and do well because of the motivation of playing against his former team. And I expected him to have a pretty good game. And it was a nice run there. And we see some of the things that he could do. And then he has that other element of him that he'll go the wrong way as he did in this game. And that's the maddening part about his game.
Here's Ripkowski trying to fight for the first down, and they're going to blow the whistle before he gets it by about a half yard. That play was long since dead as Chancellor comes out of there with a football.
Well, Ripkowski, I mean, you think about all the backs that the Packers have had just this year in trying to establish somebody. And, of course, Eddie Lacy and James Starks, and then they have Don Jackson. They trade with Kansas City, which they never do in season, for Niles Davis, Ty Montgomery, and, Kristen Mike, and now Aaron Ripkowski, a fullback. He comes into this game with 22 carries, and that's some kind of record for a fullback.
Here he is again, and Ripkowski depends on where they mark it. The near officials running in inches inside the 35 is going to be fourth down, and it is. Might have lost a little bit of real estate. And it's fourth down.
I would expect Mike McCarthy to go for it here, which he will. Not going to pick up much if you punt and see if you can't just pick up this first down. And had a couple opportunities and haven't been able to get it. Be able to milk this clock down even more if they're able to pick it up.
If it's Rodgers, you're thinking hard count too.
Green 18. Green 10.
They snap it. It's Michael, and a stop by the Seattle defense. Cam Chancellor comes through to make a play, and a turnover on downs.
So they pull Lane Taylor, the guard, and Cam Chancellor, he just takes it on and fights through the block and makes a play on Kristen Michael. That's an excellent job by the all-pro strong safety Cam Chancellor.
So Aaron Rodgers, by the way, 18 completions, 246 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Nearly a perfect quarterback rating. And these two quarterbacks that started the day, the only two in the history of the NFL with a career quarterback rating of over 100. And it's looked like that, Troy, for number 12. It hasn't to this point for number 3.
Well, the first 6 games, not that great for Aaron Rodgers. The last 7 games, 22 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. I mean, for a guy who they have said has been off this year, he's been terrific.
Set up a screen, and here's another pick. Micah Hyde. 5th of the game. Troymaine Pope was the target, off of him and into the arms of Hyde. His first of the year.
Well, this one's on Russell Wilson. This is a high throw, and you take a look at the previous interceptions he's thrown. That was a great play there by Morgan Burnett, who was just in a great position. But then the other one, excellent play, Demarius Randall, and the one, of course, that was dropped by Doug Baldwin here. But this last interception, this is a ball that should have been brought down. It's up high, and it gets deflected, and the interception by Micah Hyde.
A 5-interception game, that's a career high for Russell Wilson.
Now, just when Packer fans started to get just a little bit nervous, Micah Hyde's there to calm everybody down.
So Green Bay will take over at the 19, and we should see plenty of handoffs. Ty Montgomery in the backfield with Brett Hundley. A little toss to Janis. And end around. Touchdown, Green Bay.
Yeah, this is going to show a touchdown for Jeff Janis, but you watch Davante Adams out here, a wide receiver, and the job that he does on Richard Sherman, and here it is here. This is an excellent job by him, and he just sticks with it. And Brian Bulaga, the right tackle, he makes a point of running all the way over to Davante Adams to congratulate him and tell him job well done. And about that defense, this is a big-time win for this Green Bay team, and I think both of these teams are dangerous because of their veteran quarterbacks and what they've experienced over the years. You know, both these teams at times have started out slow and they come on strong at the end of the year going into the postseason. This Packers team right now, the way that they've been able to play the last 3 weeks, is slowly becoming a dangerous team if they're able to get into the postseason.
Hyde set it up, and Janis gets it on that little toss on an end around. Now the extra point. There was a penalty on the play against Seattle. You could hear Walt Coleman say that it'll be assessed on the kickoff. We'll look ahead to next week, week 15 around the National Football League. It starts with Fox NFL kickoff at 11 a.m. Eastern. And Fox NFL Sunday leads into these matchups. The Lions and the Giants will be there for that one. Packers and Bears, Eagles and Ravens, then late 49ers and Falcons, Saints and Cardinals. The battle for the NFC North, and that'll be fun to watch over the last 3 weeks of the season, and it is wide open despite the lead, which is 2 games for the Lions over the Vikings and the Packers because of all the head-to-head matchups. The Lions at the Giants, at Dallas. They end the year with Green Bay. That could be for the division. And then the Vikings. Don't forget about Minnesota at home against Indy, at Green Bay, at home against Chicago. So they've got a favorable schedule with that head-to-head with Green Bay coming up in 2 weeks. And we've told you the Packers have Chicago, Minnesota, Detroit to finish their year. Meanwhile, Seattle, they'll lick their wounds and go home, and they have a game coming up on Thursday at home against the Rams, who are getting shut out in an ugly game with all the talk around Jeff Fisher. Les Snead, a contract extension. Will he survive their first year in Los Angeles? By the way, the penalty that's assessed on the kickoff was against Green Bay and Clinton Dix on the celebration. So it moves Crosby back. Good kickoff. Lockett back from inside the 5. Flag on the play, and Lockett down just shy of the 40. Mason Crosby with a form tackle. And there's now another flag on the field. How about Mason with a strong tackle.
During the return, holding number 41, return team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
They're going to get Dewey McDonald. Speaking of celebrating, the only celebrating that the Seahawks have been able to do is because of the Sounders win last night. They share their stadium with the Seattle Sounders. What a job that ownership group has done in Seattle, both NFL-wise and MLS play, and that win over Toronto for the MLS championship. And you can see how much these Seattle Seahawks players are involved with that, watching it in a meeting room and reacting as they want it. So congratulations to the Sounders.
That was fun to watch. That was a heck of a game. Congratulations to them. Awesome.
Well, for the defense for Green Bay, 5 interception game, first time since '06 against their division rival Chicago. Handoff here is to Troymaine Pope. And Pope, who is not a big guy, listed at 5'8", 205, is slow to get up. This guy just got back, got healthy, and now he's down in a 28-point game. 12-yard run by Pope. We'll take a timeout. 5:17 left. All Green Bay tonight.
Wow.
Ready for her next big challenge against karate master Michelle Watterson. And in a clash of styles and personality, Sage Northcutt battles Mickey Gall. Plus, it's the final fight for UFC legend Uriah Faber. UFC Fight Night Saturday at 8 Eastern on Fox. Or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. 27 degrees at the start of the game. Probably low 20s by now. Those who have packed into Lambeau Field with Packer colors on have had all the fun. Here's Alex Collins. Collins gets 2. Well, we welcome in a new audience. The 38 points put up by Green Bay, a season high for the Packers, and the 38 points put up against Seattle, a season high against this Seattle defense. The story of the game: 5 Russell Wilson interceptions, no turnovers for Green Bay. Packers came into this game at -5 in the turnover ratio for the season. They're back to even in 1 game. Here's Collins. Collins is going to fight for a first down. If you're just joining us, here's a recap. Aaron Rodgers was hot early and stayed hot throughout. He's thrown 2 touchdowns to Jordy Nelson. Meanwhile, Russell Wilson has had some drops that have ended up as interceptions. Some on him, some on the receivers. He has been under fire. And well, we saw Aaron Rodgers. This might be the biggest story of the day coming out of this, is how healthy is Aaron Rodgers. Alex Collins just got popped.
I think we ought to give credit to Dom Capers and the job that he's done and the job that this defense has done. You think about it, they were without Nick Perry today, and one of their best players, a guy who's having a heck of a season. Clay Matthews has played very little. Very few snaps in this game, playing with 1 arm when he has been out there. And of course, the injuries that they've had at corner, and yet they've gone up against a really red-hot offense coming into this game, and they've held up well. And of course, the takeaways that have been hard to come by for this defense, but they needed them to show up, and boy, did they ever. And what a heck of a performance by that unit.
28-point game. Aaron Rodgers is on the sideline, and Clay Matthews with his bad shoulder. And the guy who's missed 4 games because of 2 different hamstring injuries still out there. And the guy Julius Peppers, who is now number 5 on the all-time sack list, and who turns 37 next month, and is at the end of a 3-year contract out there as well. 3rd and 9. Wilson slings it. Pass is caught. That's McAvoy. He's got a touchdown in this game. Now he's got his 2nd first down of this game. That one good for 15.
Well, Clay Matthews, as I said earlier, I have great respect for him, and he has battled through a number of injuries. He's had hamstring issues, broken hand, of course now the shoulder, and as Mike McCarthy told us yesterday, that shoulder injury is significant. And the fact that he's even giving anything out there on the field is pretty impressive. Pretty amazing what a lot of these guys battle through to play.
Over the middle, pass is caught by Collins. He will rumble for a first down and take us to the 2-minute warning here at Lambeau Field. 1:56 to go. 28-point Green Bay lead.
Today's game is sponsored by Target. Expect more, pay less.
Trevon Boykin will take over at quarterback, and Mike McCarthy having fun on the sideline. He's called a great game. He's been really balanced, pass and run. Since 2009, his Packers will now go to 26-9 in December and January in the regular season. His teams know how to win down the stretch. Boykin takes over. Handoff is to Collins on first down for a 1.5 yards.
Well, I think a lot of people were a little surprised a year ago when Mike gave up play calling responsibilities and he took over again, mid-season. And I do think he's one of the really good play callers in this game. And I don't know that we'll ever see him give that up again. But I know in visiting with him yesterday, you could just tell he was confident. He said, if we don't turn the ball over, we'll win this game. He liked the matchups, and then in further conversation, he acknowledged that, hey, the injuries have been a challenge. It's part of the game. It's part of this league. But he really likes this team, and it's just a matter of whether or not they can get in the tournament. But if Aaron Rodgers is healthy and they do get into January, they're always going to be a tough out because of the experience that they have, and that's a lot of the confidence that they have as a team starts with Mike McCarthy.
Pass interference, offense, number 10, 10-yard penalty, still second down.
They get Paul Richardson for offensive pass interference. Yeah, he's been a guy that has been in control here since 2006, and when I say in control, I really mean in control. We talked to all these head coaches around the NFL, and I can't think of anybody. Now, we don't spend a lot of time with Bill Belichick of the New England Patriots, but in the NFC side, I can't think of anybody who is more in control of his personnel. Ted Thompson, the general manager, Mark Murphy, the terrific president. Here's a fumble, another turnover. 6-0 in the turnover department in favor of the Green Bay Packers. But this Mike McCarthy can coach, and if the Green Bay Packers, there was some talk there for a while that he was under fire, there'd be a lot of teams lined up to sign Mike McCarthy to take over their head coaching position if he ever got loose.
Well, you're right about that. I mean, he's got a heck of a resume, and he finds ways to win games, and you just can't ever count them out. And I think that he and the relationship and the way that he's been able to work with Aaron Rodgers, and I think all head coaches and quarterbacks have their moments when you struggle a little bit within that relationship, but I think he's a guy who really knows offensive football and what's best for his team. And like you said, I think he's really got his fingers on the pulse for this entire program and how he sees building a championship team.
And I think he's able to evolve. By the way, that fumble was forced by Christian Ringo. He's changed the way he's done things. His practice week, the OT presented by Lowe's, is coming up following game action here at Lambeau. Look, back in 2010 when Mike McCarthy and the Packers won it all in Super Bowl 45, they had to win against the Giants in week 16. They had to beat the Bears here at home in week 17. They did both of that, and then they went through Philadelphia. They went through Atlanta. They went through Chicago, and then they beat the Steelers in the Super Bowl. They know how to win down the stretch. Now, they're going to need a little bit of help, but they're dangerous.
And they're going to need a healthy number 12, and I guess we'll learn in time as to just how serious that injury might be.
You see that mark for Aaron Rodgers. 15 straight wins at home in December. He's now 16-2 overall. He hasn't lost at home in December since his first year starting in 08. And he's been dominant over that stretch. We'll wrap it up when we come back after this break. Green Bay wins it by 28 over Seattle. Amazon Web Services for Seattle. Most turnovers for a Seahawks team since 2000 against Miami. And for the Packers defense, 5 interceptions today, the most since 2006. How about Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers has won 15 straight at home in December. And over that stretch, 37 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. How healthy is he? That's a question. The OT coming up right now.